Hello and welcome to the first ever Teachappy Book Club, and the book that I've chosen to kick off my book club is this one, Happier by Tal Ben-Shahar. He was, when he wrote this book, Professor of Psychology at Harvard University, and he taught the most popular course there, which was essentially a course in positive psychology, sometimes called the scientific study of what makes life worth living. And this book is essentially a guide in how to be happier. And he gives a definition of happiness in the book, and he says it's a balance between pleasure, so enjoying your life, experiencing positive emotions, but also about meaning. So that is setting yourself meaningful goals for the future. It's about leading a life that is fulfilling, that has a clear sense of purpose, that you're leading in line with your values. And crucially says, it's impossible to always feel happy, either in the moment, which is the pleasure aspect, or in the future as well, which is the kind of meaning aspect. We will all go through ups and downs and experience negative emotions, and these are natural human responses to life's ups and downs. And he says we need to give ourselves permission to be human. So I like this book. It's very pragmatic. And you can see that I absolutely have devoured this book, loads of post-it notes, loads of notes scribbled inside. And that's because it's a book that gets you to reflect. There are time in reflection points where he asks questions. He really gets you to stop and think about yourself, your values, your life. And there's also exercises for you to do, whether it's about meditation, whether it's about setting short, medium and long-term goals. You really have to kind of stop and buy into it. So it's a very practical book in that sense. If you're an educator, why might this book appeal as well? Well, there's a whole section on education. And he says, he kind of criticizes the current education model where he says it's based on the rat race model, which is where happiness is always about the future. So you're working towards your GCSEs and then your A-levels and then. And the problem with that is that we're not cultivating a love of learning in the moment. So we're always teaching young people, teachers as well, that in order to feel satisfied, you need to get to this kind of goal, this stage. And then once that's achieved, then it's on to the next stage. And when happiness is always future oriented, then we don't appreciate the moment. So we're lacking that pleasure, enjoying and fostering a love of learning in education. He also talks about the importance of flow, which is that psychological phenomenon when you're fully absorbed, really interested in something, time rushes by, you lose sense of yourself, and it's really good for well-being. He also talks about cultivating a sense of stretch and challenge and struggle, that we shouldn't make things too easy for children and young people. They need to embrace challenges and struggle because there's some real deep satisfaction gained from overcoming difficulties in your life, whether it's in education or just in your personal life too. And just personally, why I love this book, it ends with a whole section about time, how precious time is and how we need to use our time really wisely in order to cultivate a happier life. He talks about getting the balance right between have-tos, the things we just are obliged we have to do, and our want-tos. And he crucially says we need to reduce our have-tos to as few as possible and increase our want-tos. Really spend as much time as we can on the things we really, really want to do. And he also says, and it's something I've embraced, we need to simplify our lives. We have created this culture where we admire busyness, and he says that's completely counterproductive for happiness. We need to simplify our lives and spend time with the people and the things that are really important and meaningful to us. So I just want to end with a little section where he says, if not now, when? He's talking about the cruciality of spending time on happiness right now. He says a happy or happier life is rarely shaped by some extraordinary life-changing event. Rather, it's shaped incrementally, experience by experience, moment by moment. To realise, to make real life's potential for the ultimate currency, which he says is happiness, we must first accept that this is it. That all there is to life is the day-to-day, the ordinary, the details of the mosaic. We are living a happy life when we derive pleasure and meaning while spending time with loved ones or learning something new or engaging in a project at work. The more our days are filled with these experiences, the happier we become. This is all there is to it. It's a cracking book. I highly recommend it. If you've read it, let me know in the chat. If you would recommend another book on the topic of happiness, let me know in the chat. And I hope you've enjoyed this first ever Teachappy Book Club.